Hello, dear friends. My name is Eva Tashi, and I'm a sovereignty and embodiment coach. I help men and women to claim their divinity and to connect to their kingdom within. I use different modalities for this work. One of the modalities that I'm going to present here together with my guest is emotional therapy, which also takes, in many situations, takes a client to past lives. So we are going to address this topic today. Hello, Armando. Very welcome here.
Hello, Eva.
Yes,
Thank
nice
you very much for this
Yes,
interview.
and I really want to just share here that it was your idea to do this interview, and I really honor you
Yes,
for that because it requires a lot of courage.
thanks.
Yes, and you didn't do any inner work before. You didn't do, let's say, healing trauma or dissolving your karma. We were working together, just so you know, like 6 months, and we've been doing different things. And as I said, one of the things it was dealing with past lives that arose during our sessions, because the way I guide people is I guide them through the energy that they have issue with or with the topic, and wherever their consciousness is taking them, that's where they go. So whether that be this lifetime or past lifetime. So Armando had amazing experiences in regards to past lives. I was also kind of surprised with few sessions we had, what emerged. And I want to hold space now for Armando to share his story, his insights, what he learned about it, what was his experience, and what was his healing. So yes, again, very welcome, very happy to have you here, and thank you so much for giving this idea to do this.
Thank you, Eva. Thanks. Yes, it's really great to be here, and I'm sure this will be very useful for people watching this video, because I guess people have misconceptions, people might have fear of doing all this work. People might be putting the work for, let's say, a future when they don't know when to do it, but it's something that is very important.
Yes, I totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. Yes, so as I said, you didn't do inner work prior of us working together, and I want to ask you, like, what was your experience? Let's say our first session, when we were, when you were diving deeper into your subconscious mind. How did you experience it? And yeah, just tell us your story.
Yeah, basically the first session was somehow was a session where I was not easily getting into where I wanted to go. I was not going where I wanted to go easily, but then we worked it very, very well, and we managed to get in. And basically it can be painful sometimes. In my case, it was painful, but I was ready for that, because 1 month before the sessions we did a preparation work that was really helpful, and it helped a lot. And because in the session you need to be more into your center to be in. You need to be prepared of the things you're going to face, because as we have lived in our past certain things that luckily nowadays in our modern world we don't see anymore, you will experience these things again, so you need to be ready for that. Of course, it's never possible to prepare yourself 100%, but you need to, let's say, go there. And if it's too painful for you to go there, your soul will refuse to go until you are prepared to go there. So you need to trust yourself and dive in, because otherwise it will stop itself. It's not something that your soul will prevent you to become a worse, let's say, to worsen your situation. So you are safe going through these past lives.
That's amazing. Yeah, thank you. How did you experience the first session where actually a different story from this life, yeah, not this lifetime, but something emerged, something new? Like, how did you experience that for the first time? Did you believe it's your, it really is a past lifetime? How did you experience it on energetics, in the mind, what was happening? And did you think at some point, I made this whole thing up?
Energetically, you feel a really big change in energy, for the simple reason that, of course, you start to see things, and in case, I mean, in my case, I started to see things, and I started to feel sensations, sometimes pain, sometimes a lower energy, and then we discover with other sessions that the lower energy and the change of energy is because you go to a previous situation and you also feel the energy that you had at that time plus the energy of the environment at that time. So if it was a time where the environment was having a very low energy for various reasons, you will feel that. And you recognize it's not your own invention because you see much, much more detail of the things. You see certain things that you will not be able to imagine yourself in a detail that you don't know. Especially when you go to the past, sometimes you are able to recognize in which past period of history you are, and you see so many details, and then afterwards, when you finish the session, you can go and check and you see that they were like that. And of course, the clear things that you have in your head when you do this past life work is that you feel. So those sensations are not something that happens when you are creating your own story from your own mind, because when you watch a movie, you don't have the same sensations as when you do this work.
Totally. Yeah. It's like you go into another, how do you say, another identity and persona, and you can fully immerse yourself in how, does that person feel in that space and time with all, senses and everything. So
Yes,
yeah, it's
absolutely.
very interesting to explore these things. Yeah. I'm curious, how did you, like, you experienced many lifetimes in our sessions, right? And some
Many.
were very like really intense. And I must say, as like holding space for you and guiding you, I really congratulate you for having the courage to go to places that were deeply disturbing and painful.
Thanks.
Yes, because it requires strength, it requires willingness to go to places and to really dissolve your karma, basically, because that's what we're doing here. We are freeing our souls here, so it's very important work. And I want to ask you now, like, you seeing many of your lifetimes, how does this affect this lifetime? Because now we are here, right? We don't want to live in the past. How does this affect your life here? How did it?
Basically, yeah, after seeing all these lifetimes,
Mm-hmm.
and not only seeing them, we have been through them, which means we have, as you explained me before we did the work, uh, all this work lowered the charge that those traumas had, and all the work of trauma healing and the past lives made me feel much, much, much better in terms of relief. I don't have this charge of bad experience regarding that bad experience. Basically, it's like we have removed all the bad things from that experience. Can you repeat me the question again so I can, let's
Yeah.
say, go back on track?
Mm-hmm. How you doing that work with past lives in particular, how
Yeah.
does that affect your life here? Like, how did you find healing? How did it affect you? And also, how did your perception change maybe because of that in regards to who you are as a being, as a spiritual being?
Perception changes a lot. Basically, I mean, I say you, but it's about me. I had a really big shift in perception for the simple reason that I didn't have any fear for anything after all this work, because after you process all these past situations, you feel that you can cope with many other situations that you were not able to cope before, and you feel like your limit bar is much more up. You feel like you are more in the ability to know when to, let's say, do something or not to do it. you are in the ability to, let's say no to things. I mean, this is what I feel. I feel like now I am more, I don't want to say in control, because it's not something that I control, but it's something that I'm aware, and I can decide whether to do things or not, whether to, this is the right direction or it's not the right direction. So I have a much bigger, higher perception of when something is right and something is wrong, because we had, let's say, basically, we have cleared up all these kind of situations that were holding me back.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it helped me a lot.
Do you feel your intuition heightened because of that, or any other senses like psychic, any of those? Like, do you feel
Yes,
more,
intuition. Yes, I think this for the intuition was like a gym, like training camp. Now intuition is more free, is more, is able to do what intuition should do, and it does it. And as well, have made a lot of changes in my life after that. And not immediately, there was a process through, but I made a lot of changes, and changes will continue. And definitely the work helped, especially the past lives. Probably later I will tell you, later we will talk about them, but yes, it helped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like, it's so true what you're saying in regards to confrontation, right? Let's say you having the courage to go to really dark places, that we are usually avoiding. We don't want to go there. We don't want to face evil, especially if it's of our own. Yeah, it's like we're confronting places where, yeah, we usually wouldn't go there, but once you go, once you have the courage and confront it, it dissolves, and it gives you strength, and it gives you power, and you connect more and more to your true essence, to your soul, right? So you have bigger, let's say, river of consciousness able to tackle things in this life, right? So you do, and you can do this, like we're in a training here, right? During in this life, like, to confront something, not just for the sake of confronting, but because it's true for you, right? Like, you don't want to be manipulated,
Yes,
you want to stop it, you say no, right?
absolutely. Yeah. You're able to say no.
Society,
Yeah.
yeah, many people in society are just, I mean, I was one of them, right?
Yeah, everybody probably
Yeah,
been at some point.
we will just put up with stuff, right? And now it's like, no, I'm fed up with this. I confront this.
Yeah.
I say, no, I have the courage. I know my truth, and like, I will not, allow myself to be put down, abused, whatever, manipulated, controlled, any of that.
Absolutely, yes.
And I feel, let's say, because I've done a lot of work with past lives as well, there is so much strength there that you get on a soul level. Like, you really, basically, I felt it as you are coming to your power as a divine being. Yeah, you get to know yourself, not just for this lifetime, also past lifetimes. So now I want to ask you something. You knowing, you were here before many times, and you've done all sorts of things, right? You've been the most, like, the worst person on the planet and the holiest of saints. Like, we've been everything.
Yes,
So
yes.
how did this affect you in this life? Like, I asked you this already, but let's say, can you go a bit deeper, because we talked about this already? Like, how did this affect you, your perception, the way you live your life, and maybe also include how do you perceive death and dying?
Yeah, talking about dying, I have a perception that is not fearful about dying.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have that fear that many people have about dying. It's not only because I know that I will come back, but also because
I have to.
I know that, yeah, probably, yeah. I mean, we all know that we will come back at some point in some other form, but also because I know that will happen at some point for sure, that my body will die, but there is no, it's not going to be painful. The painful situation I've been through are not, is more, the pain is more about the situation that I was living rather than the moment I died, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And as well, then the process the processes we have been through were very painful at the time of that life, but then thanks to this, we are clearing that. And of course, more lives, more cleanup. I don't know. That's what my perception as well. We know that the future is going to be bright for everyone. And this body will not allow me to, let's say, live 1,000 years, but in other bodies, I will be able to, let's say, to continue this cleansing somehow. This is probably my idea. I don't know if this will happen, but probably it will. I'm let's say, perception wise, I know that I'm not fearful anymore about dying. I'm not in the situation of having fears for basically anything anymore, which can be a bit of, let's say, some people think, oh, you're idiot. How do you not fear about anything? No, I don't fear about anything anymore. Some people talk me about if I am fear about certain situations that for most people are fearful, like having financial distress, having I don't know, what are other things that people, let's say, get fearful of? Financial distress. People, let's say, are very fearful about political situations. How is going to be the future? For me, the future doesn't scare me. Financial stress doesn't scare me. I was very scared about that in the past. It doesn't anymore. And I live a much better life now, much better quality of living in terms of I live now, today. I know, yeah.
Very present. That's
It's a
beautiful.
very present life.
Yeah. Do you feel like you let everything go in a sense, the attachments?
Yes. I let go a lot of attachments. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if I ask you now, how do you perceive death then? I know you're not afraid of it, but how do you see it? Like,
okay, let me find an answer. Okay, how I perceive death is, my perception of death is something that at some point will happen. There is no escape. And my perception is something that I'm not, let's say, I'm not fear about, as I said before, but I don't worry too much about. I don't worry at all, to be honest. And that's my perception of that. That's my perception of the situation.
good.
Yeah, do you want to ask me any other things about that?
No, actually, I feel actually I was asking you. I wanted to share a story. It was
yeah, go ahead. Yes, please.
It's I feel it's like a beautiful transition into another life, or the time in between lives, right? Yeah, I feel it as a constant unraveling from one womb, physical womb, let's say, when we were in our mother's body, in her womb, and then we didn't know when we were, when mother was giving birth, we had no idea where are we going, and it was traumatic to be born into this world, because it's like, it's the unknown. It's, how am I going to survive? Mother is giving me everything, and now, they disconnect me from her body and everything. So I feel it's very similar. I feel like we are now in the womb of the mother, yeah, and when we die, we go into the unknown, and it's scary. That's why many people have so much fear about it. Yes, and now let's say in regards to knowing you're here for eons of time. Does the thought of being eternal, like, how do you feel about it? Does it scare you? Does it feel comfortable? Does it feel like, ah, shit, there's no way out of here, of this game? Did you ever contemplate it on that?
I've been, let's say, thinking about more about, let's say, the past experiences and what is now. I have never worried too much about that I'm going to be here for long, but I know that if I'm going to be here for long, which is the reality, it's going to be better and better. So I am not worried about that. And because now I have the tools and because now I'm improving myself, not only my body in this own present life, but also for future reference in my soul, we are, let's say, healing that. And what else I can tell you is, like, let's say if we talk about the past, I can tell you that these past experiences teach me that I have been here for, let's say, millennials, ages, centuries. So this is like I have somatized, I mean, all this experience now. Now I know I have been here in the past. So it's not like I'm not 36 years old, but I know that I'm older than that. I have much more experience.
Yes.
That the intuition will be able to show me when necessary. The intuition has that experience, and I can use the experience of the previous lives for nowadays.
That's like what you're saying, I see so important, and I've had similar insight, like the capacity of your soul, right? Who you
Yes.
already were and what kind of gifts your soul is already, you know, brought into this life. To have this awareness, I find it so beautiful, because we come here with gifts and talents already. Like, we don't need certificates of the world, you know, to express who we truly are at the soul level. So I feel there's so many things we bring from other lives into this life. Yeah. So there's a lot of resources that we carry, that it's like untapped potential of humanity that we didn't even properly tap into. So I feel we are really ripe, especially now during these challenging times, to tap into those resources and really bring them out and help humanity, assist, let's say, bring our piece of puzzle to the table. Okay. Yes, and now, in regards to karma. So in this work, first of all, I want to say, like, this work for me personally is very important because not only we help heal trauma and dissolve karma, we also expand the consciousness. I feel there's so much expansion happening there that's like it's an important part of the work, right? Yes, and now I want us to go more into the body, more embodied, so not on the spiritual plane, but really go into the body. And yes, dear friends, Armando is willing to share some of his experiences. Although this work was confidential, and it is from my side, he wants to share a few of his.
Yes, I decided that. Yes.
Past lives, and again, man, like, you have some courage there, because I feel we are bringing really important message here to people. So yeah, tell us, like, share us one or two or of your past life, what happened there.
Yeah, we have a total experience of 1, 2, 3, 4 past lives. And we have in particular one was, let's say, during the Second World War in France with the Nazis, but then the most important one was in another period of time, and that was I want to say this first because this can be a bit controversial. I'm sharing the experience, but I'm not saying this to hate anyone or anything. It's just to share the experience.
Yes.
Here, let's say this is going to be a bit, let's say, controversial. It's going to be very strange to hear, but is what I have experienced in my past life. Because this past life was in the Vatican. And I just had to say that because I just want to clarify that I'm not hating any religion. I don't want to say this because I hate. I want just to say this because I want to be clear. I want to show what happened there. Basically, that past life was a particular one, and accessing this was, let's say, it took a while to get in. And basically, I was a cardinal in the Vatican. And during the life as a cardinal in the Vatican, back in that time, there were some dodgy things happening over there. Apparently, when the head of state was away, there were some sex parties among the other cardinals, and we got caught by a Swiss guard. And then, in order to sort the things out, as I was a very arrogant person, I was very, you know, those people who think that they can do it all and they don't have any limitations whatsoever. I killed the Swiss guard, but then I was caught and put into prison inside the Vatican.
Mm-hmm.
This is what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very, I mean, living that past life experience was a bit, let's say, unbelievable, because I was seeing all these scenes, and seeing that was a bit, let's say, you don't believe you're there, you're seeing all these situations.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was a bit crazy at the moment, because I was not the first one, so it was the third that we worked. So these, I mean, I was already more training to getting into these past lives, because I mean, when you do past lives at the beginning, you will struggle to get in, but then after the second or third time, you will get in there a bit easier.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it was a really crazy situation. And then sometimes you hear news here and there about certain things about happening inside certain institutions, and I was one of those. I was one of those.
Mm.
I was in one of those. Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for sharing this. Like, to, you know, like, it takes courage to share this. Yeah, to say I've been there and I've done this and these things, and I really honor you for that. And I want to ask you, were you ever in this lifetime in the halls of Vatican? Like, do you know what I mean? Things you've seen there. Were you ever really there in this lifetime?
I went to the Vatican on the 15th of August, uh, 2001, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Probably 2002, 2002. Yeah, 2002.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. Probably I went there for 15 minutes to
Mm-hmm.
see inside, and that's it.
The places you've seen in the session, did you see them before, or it was
No,
no?
no, because during the session we were in certain rooms inside the Vatican that uh, I didn't go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if public have access to those rooms,
Mm-hmm.
but I wasn't there for sure.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, what did you make out of this? Like, what did you know what I mean? Like, having had this experience, and also now a lot of truth coming out, what's happening with elites on the global level, right, including Vatican. Like,
Yeah, I mean, my perception after that is very simple: is that everyone with a bit of power,
mm-hmm,
will feel unstoppable. And the power and the sensation of being unstoppable expands how the person is. And if the person is a bad person, will start doing a lot of bad things.
mm-hmm,
And this will show you sometimes why some other people in the power can do things that are not 100% ethical, 100% good for what they should be doing, because they feel like they can.
mm-hmm.
But
Yes.
sometimes you see that in my case, in other cases, they get caught and they get sentenced.
Mm-hmm. That's like the message here. Like, I want to share, let's say I had few past lifetimes where I was also killing people. I was a warrior on a horse on the battlefield, and I was cutting people's heads off, right? And I
What the
also
heck?
died in
Yeah.
that way a few times. So what I want to share here, what I see is that we are perpetuating evil. We are manifesting these things into existence, right? It's like I see it on a bigger scale. Like, there's a cycle of precession where our sun revolves around the star Sirius for, I think, around 26,000 years. So 13,000 years, half of this cycle, we go through 4 different ages, yeah, from Dark Age, Kali Yuga, and then through Bronze and through Silver and the Golden Age. And I feel like the level of consciousness is obviously changing. So we've been the darkest of the dark, like the most evil beings. And we've been also, you know, the most, as I said, holiest of saints, the most enlightened beings of Atlantis and Lemuria. And in regards to the situation where we're now at with Corona lockdown, it is true that we are responsible for that. That's how I see it. We manifested this thing into existence. We manifested the lockdown. We manifested the repression, the suppression of our potential. Although now here, and this is on the spiritual level, like is you know, ultimately these things are true. But when we are incarnated, we're in the body, we are facing evil, we are, you know, going through our lives here, and there's abuse happening and suppression, and they want to take our rights away. I feel it's very important that we protect ourselves, that we say no, that we, you know, don't, how to say, consent, don't give evil consent, right? Although ultimately we manifested it. So, because I feel if we're not doing this, we're doing more and more karma to ourselves. Yeah, if we just allow ourselves to be trampled upon and you know, manipulated and stepped over, it's like, all right, where is the power to self-protect? Where is the self-love? Where is the care for, you know, for your own being and for other people's lives? So I want to bring this to attention. Ultimately, it's our responsibility. And on a spiritual level, we are manifesting this, yes. And there's a lot of inner work and inner alchemy we need to do to purge all these, you know, energies out that are disconnecting us from our divinity. Yeah, while as we are here embodied, we need to do the right thing. We cannot just allow things to happen and, you know, just say, oh, on the spiritual level, this is so. So I don't know if you want to share anything in regards to that. That's how I see the message of that. Yeah, to really understand that we've been, yeah, the darkest and the brightest, and it's within us still in this lifetime. So it's for us to choose, for us to clean the vessel so God can work through us. So yeah, what do you think of that? Like,
I think this current situation is making people clean up all these vessels. At some point it will help to clear all the situations. Sometimes to clear up the situations there is a price to pay, and sometimes it's going to be much easier, but definitely I can tell you with 100% clarity that after this most of us will have a much better life, because the energies are shifting massively as well during this time. And as well, we by being at home but being isolated, we have more time to reflect, we have more time to take care of ourselves, and this is as well helping us to being able to do what we want to do without being forced to do something for someone else.
yes, totally. Yeah.
So this is teaching us that we can be confined in our homes, and it's teaching us that we can be strong, we can do what we really want to do. Worst case scenario, you stay at home and you can see it, it's not that much. You can do it.
Yeah, to really ask ourselves, like, what is our way forward? What do we really want to do? In what kind of world we want to live in, right?
Yeah.
What am I here for? What's the meaning of my life? Yeah.
Do you want to go back to your normal life, to what you were doing before, or do you want to do something else? Is there a way you can do something else with your life? People are getting divorced, people are thinking of getting married, things are changing. People are going to change jobs, change career, changing countries. I heard many stories about many different things in this period. And especially here in London, which is a place where people are, let's say, not happy about their lives. They came here sometimes because they didn't have that many options. And now people are really seeing what they want to do, really. Particularly myself, have made many changes. basically.
And to say no to vaccinations, yeah, while we're, you know, contemplating and going inwards, I feel it's also on the, like, on the physical, on the, you know, we really need to say no to things that are literally harming us, to just not participate in that. Yeah, we don't need to fight anyone. We just need to, like, not to give it consent, not to, yeah, to say no, like, we're not having it.
Yeah, if you feel that you don't really want to have it, just say no. Very simple. Now you should be allowed to do that.
To have your own choice, yeah, of your own body. What do you, yeah. Okay, good. So would you like to share any other past life?
We can share them all. Yeah, they
Because,
are here already.
Armando, we
Yeah.
don't need to, yeah, but let's say you said you're willing to share also. We did a bit of a recording during the session.
Yeah, you can put the recording.
Yeah, so maybe I would just touch on that lifetime and just, yeah, if you are comfortable with that, obviously.
Yeah. We have many, and some of them are really, I mean, people who will watch the recordings just expect to see things, to hear stories about things that you will not expect in a normal life, or to see things that are very, very clear with details, because when we were doing these recordings of the sessions, I was telling you all the possible details I could. And this will show that we are not making up the story. This is all real.
Yeah. Again, like, I'm really grateful for you to be willing to share that with people. I just want to say, like, Armando was the second person I worked with where he really animated his situation where he has been in. So his body really, you know, was moving, and when he was fighting, he was really, like, physically, when I was watching him on camera, it was like physical, right? Full immersion, like you're in a, I will not say video game, but it really, you know.
Yeah. In the situation, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, you cannot make this thing up. It's like, man, you know, I was surprised
No,
on this
you
side,
can't.
looking at you, what you were going through. It was extremely interesting to observe. Yeah.
And then as well, yeah, no, nothing else to add. You said
Yeah.
it all. Yeah.
Maybe you just share in one or two sentences what that life was about, and at the end of our interview, I will add maybe a few moments. Yeah, I will not add a lot. A bit of our session together.
Which one? We have the
So
Second World War, the Castle, the Vatican, Argentina, and then the one of the explosion.
it was the explosion, Star Wars. There.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. Okay, that one is a particular one because it regards a massive blast that basically killed everyone. And the thing that almost nobody can, let's say, think about that is that this explosion is not something that happened in the recent years, but it happened many centuries ago, where we don't have the perception that these things could have happened. But in reality, this happened. And according to my past life, that happened. And that one probably was the most painful past lives to go through. And we didn't manage to see the explosion ourselves. I mean, yes, at some point after, let's say, going through, we have been from the moment of the explosion, probably not the real moment, but we have seen before and after. And it was tough, to be honest. It was not an easy one. Probably was the most difficult experience to go through. Also because it was not only involving an explosion, but it was involving as well beings that nowadays you don't see anymore in normal circulation. Let's say this way. You will not encounter on the street the type of beings that were there.
And you want to describe maybe the what did you see? What kind of being?
Yeah, I mean, these beings were something very strange because they were kind of grayish, not that tall, and it's very strange when you see these kind of things yourself. and because you don't expect to see that, but it was that. And we had as well an explosion. There were these situations where, let's say, there was a war, beings against us, so was not a nice thing to see, and it ended up badly because we got blasted.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to share, like, I have people who I do this work with, and they will have basically Star Wars happening, like for real. Like they were part of Star Wars and they were battling different beings, yeah, greys and reptilians and others. So, and I feel this is also part of the, I don't know, there's a Dr. Stephen Greer who talks about the disclosure, right? And many other, and many other people. And I see this in my sessions, like this is actually really happening. We've lived in times where we've, you know, we've been battling for this planet or other planets. So we are really not what we think we are. Like we've been so programmed on this planet that we're these little humans, yeah, that like we're the whole world, not the whole world. I think 3 billion people are on a lockdown at the moment. But if you really,
Yes.
you know, have this perception of, whoa, I've been already here like so many times before and in other galaxies and universes, like, what am I doing here? Like, do you know what I mean? What is this game, stupid game we're playing here? You know, it's
Yeah.
nothing. It's like, yeah, and I just like, I'm interested in these things. Like, I'm really interested in truth of who we are on the soul level. Like, we are multidimensional beings. There's much more to us than what we perceive here. Yes, and I'm really, like, I'm so grateful you're sharing this. Really, really grateful. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, is there any other thing you want to say? Maybe, I don't know, how do you find this work? Although you shared this before, would you recommend this work to anyone? If yes, to
Absolutely.
like,
Everyone should do this work,
mm,
because this work will change much faster. It's like a fast track healing. It's like you remove all the junk that is preventing your intuition to help you go through the things of your
mm-hmm,
life.
mm-hmm,
And this is very useful for everyone.
mm,
No exclusions.
yes, it's
And there is nothing to lose about trying. So everybody should do it.
mm, yes, because we're here to higher our consciousness, right? Raise our consciousness. It's important, especially these days. It's already happening, yeah, naturally, because we are forced to now during Corona lockdown.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
yeah, many people feel stuck. Many people feel, I cannot move forward. I don't know who I really am. What am I here for? And stuff like that. And I feel for people like this is really important. So as much as I needed help, like I've done a lot of work in many years now, but I feel now really ready to assist other people also to raise their consciousness, get to know who they are, and go on their purposeful journey, on their, you know, soul journey, rather than the programmed, traumatized, limited one. Yeah. Yeah. Do you have anything else to say? Any final message before we finish?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. As well, this is not a game. What I want to add that is doing this work is not a game. It means that it's heavy. It
Yeah.
means that you need to sacrifice a lot of time and energy, because all the work that we did in these 6 months was not just the sessions, but was, let's say, during the week things to do as well. And as well, the sessions are heavy,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you go through past lives. After, let's say, going through all these situations, you are exhausted. The only thing you want to do is to eat and go to sleep. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, we were working on Saturdays, and then Sundays were the days I was recovering from this.
Mm-hmm.
You need that day to recover, because it's heavy.
Yes.
And sometimes we're doing Sundays, and all Sunday was, let's say, resting. It's not something like that, yeah, I do the session and then afterwards I go to play tennis. No, it's not. It's going to be something that you need to commit yourself, and as well you need to commit time to do it and to recover from it. Also because during the week you will internalize many things that you were seeing through the sessions and through the other work that we did. So it's very important to dedicate time to do all the work. Because the worst thing for someone doing this is not being fully convinced of doing it. You need to go through and do it.
Yeah. Have the willingness to do it and do the
Yes.
self-care afterwards. Yeah, it requires energy to go to those places, but it gives you more energy. It's like, I feel it as you are going into dense pockets of energy in your energy field, and then you deal with those, but there's more life currency coming through. Yeah.
Yes.
But it takes a while. Yeah, it takes some time. Yeah, to recuperate, to get that energy back. Yeah, so the body does regulates itself in a new way.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. At some point, I will go back to do this work.
Oh, brilliant.
I just stopped because I am running out of money. Because I have as well this change of life in which I am running out of money. But I know when the money is back, I will go back as well to this work.
Good. There are other modalities that I also do, yeah, that are fast tracking our healing. So yes, and I just want to share here, like and it's an important thing, like I'm here to really assist people to become sovereign, yeah, to not be dependent on me, and to really go and live their life and be true to themselves and be in alignment. And yes, we are all, how to say, work in process. I'm also, although I've done a lot of inner work, I'm still, it's an ongoing thing for me. I do embodiment practices here every day. I do sometimes one-on-ones with my friends, and yeah, to go further. But definitely, whenever you feel you're ready, come back, and we're going to continue.
Absolutely,
with other
yes.
things, because I'm learning all the time. So you're very welcome. And as I said, it was an honor to assist you and to witness you in your own, transformation. It was a beautiful journey, and yeah, and I just like you were really willing to do the work. That's
Yes.
the most important thing. So it's not about me, it's actually you committing, willing to do the work, getting the money to do it, and really have the courage to go to places that are painful. And I think, like, if you have that, you can totally transform yourself and really raise your consciousness, transform your life, make changes, change directions, move, I don't know, start to do different type of work, be more loving to other people, have conversations that are very, hard otherwise, or to really confront things and speak your truth. So yeah, as I said, it was an honor to do that, really. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, for me as well, it was a really, really good, really big pleasure to do all this work. Not only because of the results, but also because of the expansion I see, the happiness change I see, and as well, now I have the tools to keep working just myself.
Yes.
I know what I have to do in order to keep expanding. Of course, working with you is going to be a fast track, but for now that I have this, let's say, this change of, let's say, things, I know what I have to do and I'm doing it. And let's say in this lockdown, as I always say, I am probably the happiest person in this entire lockdown, in this entire planet during the lockdown, because I am doing all this work myself. I am doing the meditation, doing breathing, I am exercising, I'm doing all the things in order for my expansion to work, to be better, and it's working.
What about you being enough and just being.
Yeah, as well,
Just
yes.
surrendering and say, you know what, Armando, I think you're very good, you know, you're enough, just the way you are. And I
Yeah,
can just relax now and, you know.
let's be honest with you. Uh, I have that feeling that I am well as I am. I don't feel any sensation of not being enough. I don't have the sensation of not being adequate to anything.
Mm,
And yes, especially let's say for me, it's very easy now to, let's say, what you said is I don't have that sensation of feeling, oh, I'm not, I need to do this because I feel, no, I don't feel any sensation of being inadequate. I feel good, and
mm.
if these things will make me feel good, I will carry on in order to feel good. If I don't feel I don't want to do it, I don't do it.
You removed
I don't force.
you removed all of the shoots.
Yes, I don't force anything.
Mm,
If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
mm,
And that's the way I do things. I don't force myself.
yeah, brilliant. Yeah. I think we know each other for many years, and I feel we grew, both of us,
Yes,
in
absolutely.
many ways. Like I was forcing myself before, and I came now to like, okay, do you know what? No, no more, no more, none of that. Yeah. So yes, so this was it. Thank you again, Armando. As I said, deeply appreciate it. If you want to do some of this work, please get in touch on Facebook.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook, Eva Tashi, Tashi, or you can get me on my website, sacredsovereignbeing.com. Yes, and hope you were enjoying this conversation. Hope you get some insights, and I wish you a good day, Armando. It's Easter Day. I guess I don't know if you're
Yes.
celebrating or probably not. um,
Today, yeah, good lunch here at home, and then probably I will fall asleep
good,
in the couch under the sun as I did last weekend.
right.
Yeah,
Sunshine is good for your immune system.
it's good to enjoy the sun.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Okay, good. So thank you so much. Yeah, and we'll speak soon anyway. So
Yeah, let's speak soon.
thank you everybody for listening. Bye bye.
Bye.